How's it going, Twitch? My name is Skull, and on behalf of East Asia Soft, welcome to today's stream. I need a haircut. Oh boy, I need a haircut. Alright, today I'm playing a game called Sunny Café, a Taiwanese coffee culture visual novel. It's been a while since I played a new visual novel for EAS, so this is exciting. Boy, I need a haircut. Oh man, that's embarrassing. Okay. I'll have a haircut before I stream again on Friday. I always love playing through the visual novels, so let me go ahead and start this and see what kind of game this is. I forgot how loud the PlayStation 5 can be when there's a disc in the drive.
那年雨季，是你我的交错点。 是你，让缠绕着我的乌云消散，转变为晴天。那么这间咖啡馆，就以你喜欢的晴天为名。晴天咖啡馆。
Taiwan is part of China, right? It's like part of China, like Hong Kong's part of China, right?
爱是黑暗中的太阳，爸爸了，就算明天要去流浪，听说真心可以把忧伤融化，放在心上。爱是黑暗中的太阳。
This is cute. I love this intro. It's cute.
再过个几年，一样会是两杯咖啡，听首风情，一个。
So, this is clearly in Chinese, not Japanese. I've been learning Japanese. Chinese is very, very different from Japanese, so I'm not going to be able to understand anything. I love the art style. It's cute. Could probably bump the volume back up now. Extra? Gallery. Wow, there's... Oh, there's... Wait a minute. There's 12 pictures that we can have, so this is probably a shorter visual novel. There's also a mini-game option right here. Or right here. But we are here to play the game. Let's go ahead and start. Not used to visual novels having a cursor. Chapter 1, Encountering in the Shower. Good night, everybody. As the bright September afternoon sun casts down rays of shining light, the season to go back to school in Taiwan is starting. I'm actually going to have a layover in Taiwan, in Taipei, on my way to Asia, or while I'm going to Asia next year. Looking forward to that. Just a year and a few days from now, as a matter of fact, the day I'll be in Taipei is April 1st, 2025, and right now it is March 36th, so a year and a week. Walking among the students, you can feel the excitement and tension filling the air as they are about to embark on a new chapter of their lives. The luscious green branches on the side of the road sway in the breeze, intertwined with the sound of cicadas chirping, as if forming a symphony that only belongs to summer days. As I am just about to pass by the library entrance, a voice suddenly speaks softly behind me.
那个，不好意思，请问文学大楼怎么走？
The person behind me lightly taps me on the shoulder. I turn around to see a petite girl only coming up to about my shoulders. She has long curls that are inky black. I've seen inky black in visual novels. Kotori from If My Heart Had Wings, and this is more like a dark brown. She now squints her large and vivid eyes into tiny playful slits, as if she is trying to make something out clearly. Perhaps she is short-sighted, or forgot to bring her glasses. Her waist-length hair ruffles gently in the breeze. As her tiny hands clutch tightly at the ends of her skirt, a faint blush colors her cheeks as though she is slightly flustered. She she just asked. Well, I remember what she said. It was the literature building. I didn't realize you could get options this early on.
你是说文学馆吗？
I look at the girl in front of me, who is too shy to raise her head, and ask myself, is she a freshman? I juggle the possibilities inside my mind.
往那个方向直走到底，再右转，就能到文学馆正门了。
Got it! Hesitant to speak, I point to my left as an awkward mood hangs in the air.
谢谢。
The girl waves her hand and shows a shy smile, then starts walking toward the literature building. For some reason, I can't take my eyes off her until she rounds the corner and disappears from my sight.
哎，吴玉恒，
Alvin Zhang suddenly appears and puts an arm around my shoulder.
如何？被吓到了吧？你在做什么啊？目不转睛的看学妹啊？
Man, this art style is really good. I'm really liking it. It's bright and colorful. Lots of details, very clean. Alvin Zhang is looking at me with a slight grin on his face as he's talking.
没什么，你想多了。
After collecting myself, I glance at Alvin Zhang and ask,
想喝咖啡吗？
Ah, yes, coffee. I turn my head to face Alvin Zhang, hanging on my shoulder, and cleverly change the subject.
哎，真的吗？我要喝，我要喝。好久都没到你那坐坐了，真想看看你这个暑假到底都忙了些什么。
I don't understand why Alvin is normal and then Zhang is in caps and it's the whole name. But anyway, Alvin Zhang keeps going on and on as his hands remain firmly hooked onto my shoulder.
等等你就知道了。
I don't need to do voice acting for this game, alright. Can just sit back and narrate. Ah, sit back and relax in this chair. My eyes glance toward the shadows cast on the ground by the sunlight. As the corners of my mouth curl slightly upward with the hint of a smile, I quickly avert my gaze and stare directly ahead.
走吧，今天也该让你试试看我研究整个暑假的成果了，你一定会喜欢的。
Time flew by so quickly, and before we knew it, the rainy season was upon us. Dark storm clouds are gathering on the gray and foggy horizon, signaling the coming of heavy torrents of rain. I haven't seen that girl since the time I first met her. Thoughts about her linger at the back of my mind. I close the diary in my hand and look out the window. The once luscious leaves have been struck down by the heavy rain, and air is thickening with dark stormy clouds shrouding the sky in an even gloomier shade. The dim streetlights, now contrasted against the dreary sky, appear brighter as their blurred reflections in the puddles add a bit of warmth to the surroundings. Man, these descriptors are really good, like almost poetic. I get up and walk over to the cabinet, absent-mindedly picking up a mug and gently wiping it down, my thoughts drifting to the day I met her. The day happened to be a bright sunny day, the earth baking in the baking sunlight as the clear blue sky stretched as far as the eyes could see, dotted only by a few clumps of clouds. Is this on how long to beat? It is not. Okay. I assume it's not that long because there's only 12 pictures you can end up with. I had a light bag strapped to my back and was planning on directly heading back home after finishing the only 2 classes I had in the afternoon, as I had done countless times before. But that day, unlike any other day, I was stopped by someone tapping me on the shoulder. Hello, what's your name? The bell on the glass door of the cafe suddenly rings. I come back to my senses, and only then do I realize that the person who opened the glass door of the cafe is now standing in the doorway, soaked to the bone, is the girl from before.
欢迎光临。
In that instant, I stand up, shocked and unable to react. After a moment of stunned silence, I manage to suppress my inner surprise and say to the girl by the door in a feigned calm voice,
淋雨了吗？不介意的话，我去拿条毛巾给你。旁边有纸巾，先擦一下脸吧。
谢谢，麻烦你了。
The girl is drenched from head to toe, with the clothes on her body looking like they have been dipped in water, without a single dry patch. Poor girl doesn't have an umbrella. She carefully reaches out with her hands to pick up the napkins on the table, gently wiping herself as if she is afraid of soiling the tables with rainwater dripping off her body. I go back to my room and grab a clean towel, deciding to bring a clothes after spotting one lying around.
拿去吧。
As I hand the things over, I accidentally touch her fingertips, now pale and cold as ice due to the rain.
谢谢你，真是麻烦你了。
She replies with a somewhat awkward laugh. With her head slightly lowered, she nervously clenches the clothes in her hands,
请问洗手间在哪里？
the words slowly coming out of her mouth, and the gestures she's making all remind me of the day when we first met. That day, she asked me for directions in pretty much the same manner. With that thought on my mind, I give a slight chuckle.
从那个门进去就是了。
The chuckle causes her to raise her head and look at me with a puzzled expression on her face. She's cute.
那边还有毛巾和毛毯，头发也一并擦干吧。
I say to her while brewing the coffee. She heads over to the chair after thanking me with a grateful smile, pulls a blanket over her shoulder, and starts gently wiping down her hair. I stir the coffee in my hands, my eyes unwittingly glancing in her direction.
你喝咖啡吗？
抱歉，我不太喜欢苦的东西。
She makes an expression that almost seems like she can taste the black coffee in her mouth, the brow on her tiny face wrinkling as her nose twitches, looking very much like a child. Her changing expression is so interesting that the corners on my mouth can't help but rise as I watch.
那你可以试试看不会苦的咖啡。我也有一位和你一样不喜欢苦味的朋友，但他却很喜欢这一杯咖啡。试试看。
Having finished speaking, I turn around to face her.
有苦的咖啡吗？
Let me help you during the tasting storyline to learn about coffee. It will help your progress. Click on the items you think stand out. You can obtain and view knowledge awards, unlock hidden storylines, and secret rewards. Dripper! The three most common drippers are fan-shaped, cone-shaped, and wave-shaped. Okay, so I'm the first person to play this game. There's 34 trophies? Okay, another PS5 game I'm not going to get the plat on this year. I was doing so good. After finishing the tips, you can find them on your awards history archive. I will also help you sort out different kinds of tips. If you forgot how to do something, click the question mark above to replay one more time. During your journey, if you want to know your current progress, click awards. All right. Okay. Things that stand out. So be on the lookout for things that stand out. Okay, we didn't lose any progress. We didn't miss anything, I mean. She said, coffee? That isn't bitter? She curiously glances at the half-made drink in my hand, pondering for a moment before nodding her head.
那我试试看吧。
I respond with a hint of laughter. Get behind the bar and brew some coffee. So this is more than a visual novel. I don't like bitter flavors, so coffee has never been my thing. I heard you serve coffee that's not bitter here. If I remember correctly, someone recommended a coffee bean that's sweet, has notes of brown sugar, and a fruity flavor. Does that really taste as sweet as fruit juice? If you want to brew a nice cup of coffee as a barista, besides getting to know coffee beans, you also need to pay attention to what kind of coffee the customers like. There are rumors that the ending is determined by how high or low you score. Remember, to select coffee beans according to the preferences of the customer, different coffee beans have unique flavors and textures. Let me introduce to everyone the first coffee bean, Columbia. This coffee bean is a light roasted coffee bean. Its process is pulped naturally. It's time-consuming and requires skill. Do you remember why the young lady is afraid to drink coffee? Columbia, this coffee bean, has ginger lily, sucrose, brown sugar, and a juicy sweet flavor. It's perfect for young ladies who don't like bitterness. After selecting coffee beans suitable for the young lady, click the Weigh button to move on to the next stage. Selected Colombian. Start weighing. The amount of coffee ground will determine how strong the body is in the cup of coffee. Be careful. Click Start. The indicator will start moving and the coffee bean will be added to the measuring cup. If you accidentally pick the wrong one, don't worry, you can click the Redo button to start over. When making coffee, you have to pay attention to how much coffee grounds to add for this cup of coffee. After preparing the coffee beans, you can click Grind to go to the next step. I know nothing about coffee. You see what I'm drinking right now? Between 12 and 20 grams. Make, okay. There's a tiny bit of a delay. That should be fine. Now, let's put the coffee beans that we just weighed into the grinder mill. The coarseness or fineness of the coffee ground affects the flavor, aroma, and even the mouthfeel. Mouthfeel, that's a word. The grind size for blended coffee is at 2.5. Try to turn the knob. Once you have set the grind size, click the power button to start grinding. We're finally at the finish line. Click Results to deliver the aromatic cup of coffee to the customer. 2.5. There we go, okay. You have to, like, the controls are down here, what you need to do. Okay. I was told 2.5. Grade results. I got an A. Okay. I'll take an A.
如果真的是这样，那就太好了呢。
越听越期待了呢。下一步就是要冲泡咖啡了吧？冲泡咖啡有什么技巧吗？
选择适合客人的咖啡豆固然重要，但手冲步骤也不可马虎。举例来说，当热水流速越缓慢，会使热水与咖啡粉相互作用的时间越长，那咖啡的味道就会越浓郁。
原来还有这么多细节啊，好酷！
Did she say how cool? Before you pour the water, make sure you put a paper filter into the shop's chosen dripper and place the dripper onto the bottom vessel. Pick up the kettle, then click and hold the paper filter to wet it. The paper filter on the right will show which parts of the filter are wet. Continue to pour until the entire filter is wet. Okay. Pick up the kettle, click and hold the paper filter until it is wet. The process of pouring hot water and letting it drip into the bottom vessel is called pre-warming. Brewing coffee is all about temperature control. Didn't realize coffee was serious business. I rarely drink it. The last time I drank coffee was a year and a half ago when I went to France just to try and get over my first day of jet lag. While you're pre-warming the vessel, you can check the fragrance of the coffee grounds, let the customer smell the coffee, and talk about the flavor profile. Click Start to begin flipping flavor cards and match them. You can look at all the flavor cards for a few seconds at the beginning. After that, you'll have to rely on your memory. Do your best to match all the cards within the turn limit. When you pass this limit, you'll lose points for each additional turn. Okay, there's 16, so 8 pairs of 2. Okay, no, that's easy. Pour over is a coffee brewing method and a method to extract coffee. There are many methods of brewing. Each way of extracting has its own flavor. Circular pouring method, blooming, then pouring, etc. are all common brewing methods. The circular pouring method is after blooming when you pour in a circular motion. This kind of pouring method helps extract coffee. Now for the real deal. When using a circular pouring method, remember to start from the outside and move towards the center. If you happen to stop or go out of bounds while pouring, you will lose points. Finally, at the finish line, click Results to deliver the aromatic cup of coffee to its customer. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, God. Let's try that again. Okay, I lost just a tiny bit of points there. Oh, then that way. Reset. Wow, okay. This is hard to do with this controller. hard to do with any controller, I suppose. That was perfect. Oh boy. I'm just gonna call that good enough. Got an A+. Okay. Oh, look at her cute little chibi. That's so adorable. Aw, she's so short. That is an orca whale. Coffee aficionado. Receive an A+ ranking for the first time. All right. The aroma of the coffee is making the girl anxious to taste the signature blend that just finished brewing.
这杯特调咖啡或许会让我重新爱上咖啡呢。
Again.
如果真的是这样，那就太好了呢。
After brewing the signature blend coffee, a fragrant aroma fills the cafe. The aroma of the signature blend combines a fruity sweetness and sourness with the coffee's richness, two seemingly different flavors that somehow blend perfectly together. I bring the steaming mug of signature blend to the table the girl is sitting at and sit down in a chair across from her, fingers crossed on the table in front of me.
喝一点热的，免得感冒。
好的，谢谢你。
She takes a sip of the signature blend. Her face, stiff from the cold, gradually relaxes in a milder expression.
味道可以吗？
I ask her quietly out of curiosity, with my face propped up by my hands, after seeing her drink the coffee.
很好喝。
Thanks to the heat coming from the coffee, color gradually returns to her pale cheeks. Aww. Man, these illustrations are good.
真的不苦呢。
She replies with a smile, hands tightly clasping the coffee mug. I stare at her for a moment without saying a word.
我叫做吴玉恒，你呢？
我叫做顾希凡。
Kathy Gu. She quickly glances at me as she replies, then goes back to staring at the coffee in her hands. I can tell that she is purposefully avoiding my gaze. I think she might be feeling uncomfortable since she is not familiar with her surroundings.
你看起来好像很紧张呢。
有吗？
I feel slightly guilty seeing the dry expression on her face resulting from my abrupt question.
今天雨下得出乎意料的大，不知道的人还以为是台风呢。
I intentionally look out the window as I casually try to change the subject, hoping to get her to open up with some small talk.
是啊，我原本打算淋着雨回家，但这种程度的雨根本就没办法这么做。
Oh, wrong button. No, I do not want to return start menu. That means I have to do this all over again.
还好背包是防水的，不然里面的书全部都要泡烂了。
Suddenly remembering the books inside her bag, she takes them out of her bag and lays them out on the table as she speaks, carefully inspecting them for water damage. I look at the books laid out on the table. They're all English magazines that I struggle with, as well as thick English novels.
都是英文。
嗯，没错哦，我最喜欢看原文小说了。
我不擅长英文。
I openly admit to her the fact that I'm not very good at English.
这样啊，
After hearing that I'm not very good at English, she can't hide the disappointment that's written all over her delicate face.
不过看起来是本好书。
没有错。
I wonder what it is. A happy smile radiates from Kathy Gu's face as she enthusiastically responds. Kathy Gu begins excitedly chatting about contents of the book as I listen to the musical sound of her voice until the rain outside the window subsides. The gray and heavy clouds have vanished. What is left is the orange sky reflected in our eyes by the setting sun. As the afterglow of the setting sun falls on the bottom of her empty coffee mug, Kathy Gu's eyes follow the rays of light out the window.
雨停了，那个，谢谢你，我该回去了。衣服明天我会洗干净带过来的。
Kathy Gu says as she begins to search her bag for her wallet to pay for the coffee.
这杯我请你的。
I grin, standing up and moving over to the door to wait for her.
真的非常谢谢你的招待。
She returns her wallet to her bag when she hears the firmness in my voice and gives me a cheerful smile. She walks over and stands next to me as I gently push open the front door to send her off.
明天见。
After she reaches the bottom of the stairs, she turns around to wave goodbye. I nod in response and watch until she disappears around the corner of the alley. I should bring a little present for the shop owner when I return his clothes tomorrow.
就这么办。 I spent the whole day in class today with my head deep in thought, wondering how I could get more customers to try out our signature blend. Ever since the regulars at our cafe learned that my parents would be out of the country for a while, they suddenly visited a lot less. During this time, most visitors at our cafe more often prefer light meals paired with their regular drinks. Origin Cafe without my parents' signature blend is like taking the coffee out of the coffee shop. This frustration can be overbearing. Seems like it's about time I started cultivating my own loyal customer base. The question is, how I should go about promoting my coffee. Promotions, maybe? I'm trying to run a cafe, not a supermarket. Hey, Bowen Woo. The sound of my classmate pulls me out of my thoughts. Class is over. The back door's already locked. Grab your things and head out the front. I watch him zip out the front door like a bat out of hell, never even bothering to look back, like he has to catch a train or something. Now I'm all alone in an empty classroom. The lights have long been turned off. I raise my head to look out the window. The drizzle that usually peppers the air is absent today, with a little sunlight shining dimly into the room. But even this could be counted as good weather these days. Still got an eye out in case there's anything I need to click. I pack all my stuff into my backpack and leave the classroom, locking the door behind me as I leave, getting ready to head back to Origin. If I recall correctly, she mentioned yesterday that she would be returning the clothes today, though she didn't specify what time she would be coming. If she is already there, maybe I can make it if I hurry. As soon as this thought occurs to me, I subconsciously hasten my steps, trying to get back to the cafe as soon as possible. As I arrive at the cafe, I can see Kathy Gu through the glass wall on the side of the cafe door, sitting at the bar with her back turned toward me and chatting with the shop manager. At that moment, I let out a sudden sigh of relief, my tense emotions gradually subsiding. I take some deep breaths to calm my slightly frantic breathing, and I loop around the back alley and enter the staff room through the back door. After changing into the white shirt and black trousers I wear for work, I offhandedly brush some loose strands of hair out of my face with my hands before walking out of the staff room.
于恒，这位小姐已经来一段时间了，有事找你。
Benedict Wong quietly says to me when he sees me come out of the staff room.
好的，
I turn to face Kathy Gu and give her a polite nod. The moment our eyes meet, I see a smile brimming in her eyes, her lips curling upwards as she picks up and hands me a bag containing my sister's clothes.
昨天真的很谢谢你，要是没有你，现在我可能已经卧病在床了。
不是什么大事。既然来了，坐一下再走吧。
I smile back in response to her thanks.
好，
Oh, I seize it! Mocha pots! Mocha pots are mostly made from aluminum or stainless steel. Okay, I saw it! I saw it! That was mine. Mine. Called it. Claimed it. Mine. Ah, I am so good at visual novels. After replying, Kathy Gu suddenly lets out a small cry of surprise as if she just remembered something. She takes a small, delicately wrapped box, small enough to fit in 2 hands, out of her bag and places it in front of me.
这是想谢谢你昨天请我喝咖啡的回礼，真的非常好喝。
Kathy Gu's expression reveals the gratitude in her eyes, reinforced in part by her particularly radiant smile.
不客气，下次还想喝的话，随时欢迎。
不过以后可不能再让你请客了。
The girl in front of me says with a straight face, though you can somehow sense her happiness, which makes it hard not to chuckle.
那么我就不打扰了。
Kathy Gu says as she stands up and gets ready to leave. Benedict Wong, almost as if on cue, brings Kathy Gu a hot, steaming mug of cocoa. At the same time, he also serves me an aromatic mug of black coffee.
这个
Aromatic, not aromantic. Aromatic. Kathy Gu stares at me with a confused look on her face.
既然都特意过来了，还是喝个东西再走。
I say to Kathy Gu with a warm smile as she stares back at me, dumbfounded, unable to process what just happened.
这可怎么办？这样我是不是每次都要带一份礼物过来呀？
Kathy Gu quietly mutters under her breath. Right now, her eyes are darting back and forth between the present and the hot cocoa in her hands, occasionally sneaking glances up at me. I sit there with my right hand clutching the handle of the coffee mug on the table and my left hand propping up the side of my face as my gaze falls on the panicking Kathy Gu. Kathy Gu, as if sensing my gaze, looks up and we stare at each other for a couple of seconds.
用礼物结账，好像也是可以。
什么？
Kathy Gu gasps in surprise, then quickly covers her mouth.
等等，那个，我的意思是，
What kind of gifts? She frantically waves her arms around, desperately trying to explain herself, but not quite knowing how best to put it into words. Eventually, she gives up and slumps her shoulders, forcing out 2 dry chuckles directed at me.
你吃过饭了吗？
还没啊？
Kathy Gu looks at me suspiciously. She's probably puzzled by the sudden question.
要不要再来一瓶蛋糕呢？
真的不用麻烦了。
She waves her hands to decline.
最近刚进货的新鲜草莓蛋糕，真的非常好吃呢。
草莓蛋糕，
Oh, I think she likes that. Her hands visibly falter in their effort to turn down the offer when she hears the word strawberry cake, the expression on her face also wavering. I get up and head straight for the dessert case, picking up a white porcelain plate and putting a slice of strawberry cake on it. After placing a small silver fork next to the cake, I return to my seat and place the cake in front of her. Oh, she likes that. Her eyes are staring, glued to the strawberry cake on the white porcelain plate. The plump strawberries, covered with droplets of water, give off a translucent sheen, presenting a delicious appearance as they lie nestled in pure white whipped cream.
别客气了，
那我就不客气了。
It seems she is unable to resist the temptation of strawberries. From her demeanor, you can almost see her raise the white flag in surrender as she gives in. It's so adorable. She picks up the fork on her plate and cuts off a small chunk to put in her mouth, closing her eyes to savor the taste of the strawberry cake.
真的非常谢谢你的招待，真的很好吃。
Her smile is like the blazing sun on a hot summer day, warm and dazzling.
你喜欢就好。
There's got to be more girls than her, though, right? Like, I reply with a slight grin, instantly pulled along by her kind smile and seeing how happy she is.
对了，你是在元气打工吗？
Kathy Gu asks me with a tilt of her head.
是啊，
I nod and reply to Kathy Gu without a second hesitation.
那你当初怎么会选择这间咖啡店啊？
Kathy Gu puts the fork in her hand down and stares at me with eyes filled with curiosity.
哦，这是因为这间店其实是我父母亲开的店。
原来是这样啊，我还以为刚刚和我聊天的王店长才是开店的老板呢。不对呀，这样的话，那你的父母亲呢？
他们啊，应该算是去圆梦吧。他们的人生信念就是读万卷书不如行万里路，所以他们两人就秉持着这样的理念，出国去品尝世界各地的咖啡了。
Interesting. Hi, Andrea. After thinking about it for a moment, I told the tale of my parents' globetrotting adventure and their singular pursuit of coffee. Listeners who are not acquainted with my parents would probably think that I was joking.
原来如此啊，所以你的父母才会把咖啡店交给王店长经营啊。
Kathy Gu intently listens to what I'm telling, occasionally nodding vigorously.
是啊，因为他们认为我的经验还不够多，不放心将缘起全权交给我负责，所以就拜托了对经营店面比较有经验的文言哥来协助缘起，同时也让我能够跟着文言哥一起学习。
哇，我还以为像这种放弃事业只为了圆梦的事情，只会在电视剧里面发生呢。看来是我见识浅短了呢。能够一心一意的为了梦想而努力，那种感觉一定很棒吧。
I don't know if I'm mistaken or not, but a slight hint of sadness and admiration can be seen at the corners of her eyes. I've seen the expression on her face mirrored in the face of Alvin Zhang and the faces of a couple of other friends before. I remember that it was right before high school graduation, when everyone was busy filling out their university applications. At the time, Alvin Zhang was troubled, stuck between his parents' expectations and his own interests. Kathy Gu's expression right now is exactly the same as the one Alvin Zhang had at the time. I think she might be currently struggling with hard choices in her life.
不知道他们在旅途中有没有遇到什么趣事呢？
我想应该有吧。等哪天他们回来台湾后，你可以找时间和他们聊聊。
Chinese, Taiwanese, Taiwanese. Taiwanese, but I'm pretty sure Taiwan is part of China, so it might be Chinese. I understood Xixie and Niao. And of course, I've been learning Japanese, not Chinese. It's like Greek to English, so. But it sounds Chinese to me. But yeah, no, this is a Taiwanese visual novel. I propose with a laugh, seeing Kathy Gu's slightly depressed look.
这怎么好意思？要是打扰到他们的休息时间怎么办？
Kathy Gu's ears turn bright red when she hears my proposal, frantically waving her arms around to decline.
那就别选他们休息的时间，不就好了？
我不是这个意思。
Kathy Gu protests quietly, pouting and looking down with a disgruntled look.
开玩笑的。放心，我相信他们一定很愿意分享旅途中的所见所闻的。
那我会很期待那一天的到来的。
Kathy Gu says as she reaches out to cut off another piece of the strawberry cake, slowly putting it into her mouth. The sourish sweetness overflows her taste buds as she takes one bite after another, unable to contain herself from stuffing her face full of strawberry cake. Even the hot cocoa we brought Kathy Gu just now eventually disappears without a trace as she swallows down the cake and the cocoa.
不过，如果说起咖啡的话，果然会自动将咖啡与国外联想在一起吧。
Kathy Gu tilts her head and says to me after a moment of thought.
在台湾，你要是提起饮料的话，多半就会想到手摇饮料或是茶，对吧？
听你这么一说，好像真的是这么一回事呢。
I bow my head and ponder for a moment before answering her.
那这样的话，咖啡是怎么在台湾慢慢发展起来的啊？
要讨论这个问题的话，那就得从日治时期说起来了。
The moment I speak, I instantly regret my words. With what I'm saying right now, it'll sound like I'm giving a lecture.
日治时期，
对啊，要是我问你台湾哪里盛产咖啡，你第一个想到的是哪里？
古坑咖啡，嘉义，阿里山吗？
Kathy Gu is apparently not really confident about the answer she came up with, hesitantly giving her answer after much deliberation.
没错，云林古坑就是日本在统治台湾期间种植咖啡的重要地区。
I ease Kathy Gu into my explanation of what I know about the history of coffee in Taiwan.
没错，而且在日本统治台湾的期间，正好就是日本的明治时期后期。那时候的日本对于学习西方文化是相当积极的，除了推行西方近代制度外，日常生活中会碰到的生活用品也跟着渐渐西化，例如衣着啊、饮食等等。
Benedict Wong silently appears next to me at Kathy Gu's table and speaks to us with a smug grin. He is holding a giant tray in his hands, taking a large picture and 3 clear glass cups from the tray, setting them down gently on the table as he explains to us. The pitcher is filled with ice-cold lemon water. You can almost feel it chill the room just by looking at it.
谢谢王店长。
别这么客气的喊我王店长了，叫我文言哥就行。
I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so tired. Benedict Wong smiles gently, pulling out a chair and sitting down next to me.
文言哥出场的正是时候呢。
I reach out to put the glasses Benedict bought in front of each of us and fill them with some refreshing lemon water.
那是当然喽，要是聊起了咖啡的渊源，那怎么能少了我？
Benedict Wong says with a smile brimming with confidence.
也是。
I'm just trying to get it out. Just not bother suppressing. Just let it out. I chuckle at the self-confident look on Benedict Wong's face.
所以，因为西化的关系，日本人也就开始学习使用刀叉吃牛排、喝牛奶、穿洋服了吗？
就如同刚刚文言哥所说的一样，在那样的大环境下，咖啡也就开始自然而然地被日本人接受，甚至变成文明与现代化的象征了。
You know the reason why Americans love coffee so much, and I'm not making this up, this is an actual fact. We needed an alternative after we got rid of all that British tea in the 1700s. The British loved tea then and they love tea now, and when America split, we tried to distance ourselves from everything British, and that includes caffeine. So we swapped to coffee, which is just kind of hilarious. The reason that we are so obsessed with coffee now is because it's not tea. That's it.
当然，除了这些原因以外，台湾的地理条件、当时咖啡在欧美国家的贸易市场等等的原因，都是让咖啡这个产物在当时盛行的关键。
毕竟文化与市场之间的连结都是环环相扣、缺一不可的。
Benedict Wong crosses his arms in front of his chest, nodding his head in agreement to what I said.
这样啊，这么说起来，咖啡就是在日治时期开始蓬勃发展的呢。
No wonder it sounds like Chinese. Well, yeah. No wonder this sounds like Chinese. It can't possibly be because it is Chinese. There you go. Tell you what, I've got a day trip in Taipei that I'll be taking next April, a year and a week from now. After that's over, I'll come back and let you know what they sound like then.
How's that sound?
对啊，因为那时候的日本盛行咖啡，台湾又被日本统治，那自然会在台湾种植咖啡喽。
也是因为这样的关系，台湾的咖啡在早期煮法都偏日式，使用的多半是虹吸式和手冲。
Taiwan and China are different. Well, Taiwan is kind of like Hong Kong. It's a part of China, but it's also not a part of China. It is, I think, a pretty good comparison would be like how Puerto Rico is to the United States. It's a part of the United States, but it's also not really. Or maybe the American Samoa would be a better equivalent. I don't know, but it both is and isn't at the same time.
那当然，因为那时候的台湾受到日本的殖民嘛。
哇，今天学到了许多新知识呢，你们真的都很了解呢。
Kathy Gu exclaims as she nods earnestly.
毕竟这是我们每天都在接触的东西嘛。我跟你说，要是你随便挑几本你在读的原文书给我和于恒看的话，不要说是我了，连于恒都不见得看得懂呢。
Benedict Wong laughs as he puts a hand on my shoulder, poking fun at my language skills in front of Kathy Gu.
谁让你取笑我了？
I resign myself to his ridicule, grumpily nudging at Benedict Wong's arm.
也是呢，毕竟术业有专攻嘛。
Kathy Gu starts chuckling after watching the interaction between me and Benedict Wong.
时间差不多了，我们也该回去各自岗位了。
I get up to clear the table, urging Benedict to do the same.
啊，真可惜，我才刚聊没多久呢。
Benedict Wong says after sighing deeply, pretending to be sad.
那你慢慢享用，我先去忙了。
I offhandedly push the chair back in, picking up the tray that Benedict Wong brought over, and prepare to leave.
好的，不好意思，占用你那么多时间。
There's a hint of apology in her voice, but it is overshadowed by an overwhelming sense of excitement.
没事的。
I give her a polite nod before leaving. It wasn't until I returned to my station that I remembered how she enjoyed herself when she was eating. Do girls usually look like that when they're eating dessert? Yes. Yes, I do. Benedict Wong chuckles at the sight of me zoning out. Then he starts to speak to me.
于恒，你帮我试试看，用带有草本香气的咖啡豆去泡杯缘起特调咖啡，好不好？
Herbal aroma.
草本香气的咖啡啊，
Herbal aroma. Then there's only that one. Get behind the bar and brew some coffee. Herbal aroma. How am I supposed to pick herbal aroma? Okay. It's a coffee with notes of medicinal herbs, hazelnut, caramel, and cream. Medicinal herbs, hazelnut, caramel, cream. Oh no, that was just... Oh no. Herbal aroma. How am I supposed to know which one's the herbal aroma, man? This is just straight bitter, man. Oh, man. Well, Benedict is not uncle, so... Nutty flavor, okay? Okay, we have more information here. Fruit flavored coffee, rich aroma, beautiful latte art. Okay, fruit flavored. First two fruit. I'm thinking it's this one because Bowen says it's his favorite flavor, and this hint says one of his special fresh fruit flavored coffees. Rich aroma, which we have maxed out. Beautiful latte art. Have no idea what that means. Will cheer you up just by looking at it. What makes this coffee bean special is its nutty flavor. I'm thinking this is it. The first two fruit. Well, we got Nicaraguan and Colombian. Nutty flavor. Oh, that's true. I don't know anything about coffee. I don't know anything about beans. You're right, it needs to be a nutty flavor. Well, no, it also says fruit flavored. Right there, it says fruit flavored, and down there it says nutty flavor. You're killing me, Smalls. Oh, man. Can I even do this? Because the process is natural sun-dried. Do I have a method of doing that? Gonna find out. Set at 12 to 18 grams. That was not it. Wow, there's just might be input lag. Okay. think it's 2.5. A plus. Whether it's the actual coffee that we're supposed to make or not, I don't know, but I did get an A plus, so I'll take it. Well then, leave it to the pros to brew.
这咖啡豆特有的草本香和柠檬的酸味搭配的恰到好处。
It seems Benedict Wong is satisfied with this cup of coffee, nodding vigorously. I don't think I made the right coffee. For the next couple of days, a stationary front will be staying around the area of Taiwan. Rain always comes down fast and furious during this time, hitting people when they least expect it. The hot and scorching sun, baking the asphalt road with a fury one moment, is suddenly replaced by dense black clouds the next. Raindrops the size of pinballs fall from the high heavens. I observe the expected rain through the lacquered wood lattice windows, pedestrians in the street forced to hasten their steps by the falling rain, with the occasional scooter passing by, festooned in cheap disposable yellow raincoats.
又开始下雨了。
Benedict Wong, who just finished serving a table, is holding a tray in one hand and leaning against the bar, staring at the dreadful weather outside the window with a slightly annoyed expression on his face. Okay, I know for a fact I didn't get the right flavor now. Because it was supposed to be a signature coffee that included a latte that was swirled around on the top. So now I know when it's asking for that, for a latte on top, it needs to be a watered version, not a sun-dried one. Well, good luck me remembering that. Benedict Wong, who just finished serving a table, is holding a tray in one hand and leaning against the bar, staring at the dreadful weather outside the window with a slightly annoyed expression on his face. The door of the cafe is opened by a trendy girl, every movement she makes exuding an aura that makes everyone subconsciously do a double take. Moist strands of hair stick to her cheeks, her curved eyelashes blinking playfully, her lips painted with fiery red lip gloss. Her already snow-white skin, now slightly paled from the rain and wind, gives the girl a look of abnormal beauty.
哎呀，这真是麻烦。
Girl mutters under her breath, furrowing her brow, irritatedly pulling at the drenched pants stuck to her calves.
欢迎光临，请问有几位？
Benedict Wong asks the girl in his usual gentle tone.
一位，哇，好高！
Tall. The girl looks up at Benedict Wong and exclaims.
看来外面的水沟又堵住了。
Benedict Wong chuckles at the girl's reaction while taking a look at the alley outside the cafe.
是啊，我已经体会到台南雨势的恐怖了。在来到台南之前，我还没怎么遇过淹水呢。
The girl says with a sigh.
原来不是在地人，先坐着休息一下吧。这边请。
Benedict Wong smiles, leading the girl to a seat for one facing the window and helping her order.
于恒，特调一杯。
I pour the finished black coffee into a mug, sprinkling in an appropriate amount of honey pickled lemon zest before finally topping it off with some sliced lemon garnish. A lot of lemon, huh? Oh, I see it! I see it! Pour over kettle. There are many brands of pour over coffee set up. How are my trophies looking? I've got 4. I've got 30 to go. Did I miss the siphon? No. No, not yet. It's always crazy to me when I'm the first person to play a game because I'm the, like, every trophy is at 0 except the one trophy I get, which is at 100. It's so silly. It's always such a weird feeling because it happens to me way more than it happens to most other people. Five minutes later, the meal arrives with her drink. I catch a glimpse of the girl as she very neatly arranges the order that just arrived. She then picks up her phone to snap quite a few pictures after seemingly being mindful of the lighting before she prepares to have her meal.
这杯咖啡真的好厉害啊，和我之前喝的比起来，真的差太多了。
Posting it on Instagram. Wait, does Taiwan have Instagram?
那小姐，你之前品过很多咖啡吗？
也不算很多。其实我现在有在经营社群网站，姑且算是个美食评论家。
Ah, influencers.
虽然我还只是个学生，但我想靠自己的力量增加粉丝，总有一天能让大家都知道我是谁。
She smiles with confidence as she takes out her cell phone and pulls up a popular social networking site. The image of the site is the post she just made. The photos in the post are of the meal that was just delivered, along with pictures of Benedict Wong and Bowen Wu at the bar.
哇，才一下子就有这么多赞数和留言了，这算免费的广告吗？
嘿嘿，要是以后客人变多，功劳可得算上我哦。
The girl playfully
最
jokes.
近似乎于恒正在为这个苦恼呢，我问问看他的想法好了。
Under the girl's watchful gaze, Benedict Wong walks towards Bowen Wu, who was sitting behind the bar reading a book. Noticing someone approaching, I raise my head to see Benedict Wong standing on the other side of the bar, a table's distance between us.
于恒啊，你觉得我们需不需要有人推广一下咖啡馆呢？虽然平时的客人也不算少。
Social media advertising's kind of weird because you could advertise the heck out of your product and it will never increase traffic. But then there's also lots of traffic that just shows up out of nowhere. Like, it's weird. Social media is stupid. It really is. Benedict Wong quickly explains to me who the girl is, then asks me whether or not I would like to ask her for her help in promotion.
推广
I go over it in my head. If we can give the cafe some more exposure through a promotion, that will obviously be a good thing.
那要不现在去跟他聊聊看？
I glance up at the girl that Benedict Wong mentioned and get up to meet her.
你好，我是缘起店家的儿子，想和你商讨一下关于推广的事。
你好，你好，我叫陈玉颖。
Bella Chen waves to Bowen Wu with a smiling face.
这样的话，我还需要自我介绍一次吗？
Bella Chen signals Benedict Wong, who is standing next to her, and says,
没关系，刚刚文言哥已经有简单和我介绍过了。
I struggle to hold back laughter seeing Bella Chen's expressive face.
太好了，那我们就直接切入主题吧。
From the look of things, Bella Chen appears to be a pretty straightforward person.
说起来也是蛮心虚的。其实我对行销这方面涉猎的并不多，所以现在非常需要专业人士的协助。
In this collaboration proposal, besides my own selfish desire to have better business opportunities for Origin, I also hope to do my part in assisting Benedict. The problem is, I'm well aware that I barely know anything about promotions, and if I dive into it without a proper plan, I would only be dragging Benedict down. That's why I need to consult a professional and ask for assistance. I don't know why I'm struggling to read today.
别这么说，我其实也不能算是什么专业人士啦，只是做自己喜欢的事情而已。
The people who do work because they enjoy it are the best people for the job. Bella Chin raises her head shyly and tells me what she thinks with a smile.
这样很好啊。如果是做自己喜欢的事，那一定会加倍用心吧。
Seeing the look of happiness radiating from Bella Chin's face as she talks about her own interests, the corners of my mouth couldn't help but curl into a smile.
因为是喜欢的事啊，所以做起来会很开心。如果兴趣可以成为未来职业，那就太好了。虽然大家都说兴趣成为工作的话会被消磨热忱就是了。
Been there. Bella Chin says as she somewhat awkwardly scratches her head.
我想，就算最后的我们都被现实压垮，对工作失去了热忱也没关系，因为人生没有白走的路。我相信我们的每一个选择都会成为未来的养分。
I say this to Bella Chin almost as a reminder to myself to not be defeated by reality. In truth, I realize that what I just said sounds like some self-help platitudes. Hearing it might grant you temporary peace of mind, or even achieve salvation, but it doesn't solve any real problems. But I believe that if we adjust our attitude, we might see things from a different angle. So, what if fatigue from work eventually grinds our passion down to nothing? Does it matter? At the very least, we tried our hardest. Afterward, Benedict Wong, Bella Chin, and I chatted a bit more before steering the topic back to promotion-related stuff.
这样的话，关于你们店的事，我已经了解的差不多了。
Bella Chin flips through the notes on the table, carefully reading the information she just scribbled down.
那基本上先大概这样，但是我手边还有几间委托店家，所以大概下次再。
The heavy rain outside the window has turned into a light drizzle, the orange-red sunset shining into the cafe. The afterglow of the setting sun falls on Bowen Wu's body, illuminating his eyelashes with the color of glittering golden dust. Through the veil of sunlight, his pitch-dark eyes take on a lighter shade of gray. Bella Chin's gaze follows the setting sunlight toward Bowen Wu. The pen in her hand suddenly pauses as if frozen in place.
下次再。
Her voice abruptly stops. I curiously turned my head to see Bella Chin with an odd expression on her face.
我是说下次我会再过来，再联络。啊，还有讨论价钱，对。
Bella Chin snaps her eyes shut and starts waving her hands frantically in the air as though this is very nervous.
好，下次联络。
My mind is filled with questions. I can't really wrap my head around why she suddenly panics, so I can only watch in silence. Could it be because of my expression? I observe my face reflected in the glass. I'm not glaring at her. Am I? Once everyone has left, Beavis suddenly comes over to me and slowly starts talking.
于恒，你最常使用的手冲方式是小范围注水法，对吧？能示范给我看看吗？
Beavis rarely asks me to do anything. He has me puzzled.
这当然没问题。
Even though I want to ask why, I don't and agree to show Beavis. Get behind the bar and brew some coffee. Mostly use the gooseneck kettle. It's great for beginners. Okay. Oh no, oh no! Oh boy, okay.
Well, that was a lot more difficult. Okay. Oh man, the control you need to have for this is hard. I got an A, I'll take an A. Beavis gives the coffee a sniff and starts to grin. I'm guessing that's not pronounced Beavis. But that's how I'm pronouncing it. Chapter 2, Loose Soil. The time shown on the cell phone screen shows Saturday, 6:50 a.m. Why would anyone wake up that early on a Saturday? Espresso, French espresso maker. People say the hot pressured water used in espresso machines will come out thicker. Wait, you have class on Saturday too? After class, I get hurried to back. Seeing the golden rays of the sun gradually sink below the horizon, I hurry back to Origin.
Yeah.
Alvin Zhang's voice calls from the bar. I can even see him waving enthusiastically at me.
你回来了，
Benedict Wong greets me with a smile.
回来了。那我要点单。
Alvin Zhang excitedly browses the menu and places a check mark at the house signature column and hands it to Benedict Wong. Seeing how excited Alvin Zhang is, Benedict Wong can't hold his grin in any longer as he takes the order. While Alvin Zhang is sitting there at the bar stool, his cheek in his right hand, he flashes me what he considers his most seductive smile. I eye the corner in Benedict Wong's hand and walk to the inner side, the order, not corner, and walk to the inner side of the bar to brew the signature blend that Alvin Zhang wants.
欢迎光临。
All the employees in the store shout in unison. It's her, Kathy Gu. My eyes are involuntarily drawn to her the moment she steps through the door.
啊，就是上次那位客人。
Benedict Wong ponders for a bit before recalling who Kathy Gu was.
嗨，我又来光顾了。
She then nervously turns her head to look at me. I smile politely and nod to her. I go back to the task at hand, forcing down the jitters in my heart. But then I accidentally catch sight of Benedict Wong looking at me with a pleased smile. Seeing the smile on Benedict Wong's face, I feel as if he could see right through me, and my movement visibly stiffens. Alvin Zhang carefully observes the girl who just entered the door, somehow thinking he has seen her somewhere before. Alvin Zhang cranes his neck to glance at Bowen Wu, who is busy brewing coffee, ice flickering between Bowen Wu and the girl. It then occurs to him that the girl in front of him right now is the girl Bowen Wu was staring at in a stupor at the start of the semester.
哇，天哪，原来于恒这么行是吧？
With Alvin Zhang having caught on, I could feel his eyes glued to the back of my head, causing shivers to run down my spine. My hands making the latte art accidentally tremble, the originally elegant design inside the coffee mug now distinctly skewed. So the guy did see me that day. During this time, Benedict Wong is leading Kathy Gu to a 4-seat table in a corner. The table happens to be the same table Kathy sat at when she gave me that thank you present. The moment Benedict Wong gets back to the bar, he sees Alvin Zhang sitting there with a toothy grin on his face, the corners of his mouth curled so high that his eyes are barely visible slits. Alvin Zhang stares at Bowen Wu,
muttering things like, "Hey, looks like our Bowen isn't as bad as we thought," under his breath. I can only pretend to be calm and ignore what I'm hearing when it comes to Alvin Zhang's ridicule. But unfortunately, I could feel the heat rising in my ears, throwing me off balance.
左奇怎么笑得这么开心啊？
Benedict Wong looks at us with a confused look on his face.
没事，左琴脑子有问题也不是一天两天的事了。
And it won't be the last. I say half-heartedly as I place the fresh-smelling signature blend on the table in front of Alvin Zhang, then turn around to ignore him.
哎，于恒怎么这么说话？
Alvin Zhang starts laughing even harder once he sees my reaction, both hands still gently clutching the steaming hot mug of coffee.
难道是因为刚刚那位小姐吗？之前来的时候外面下着大雨，她几乎全身都湿透了。
哎，什么时候的事？
Alvin Zhang exaggeratedly asks with wide eyes. Exaggeratedly? Wow, is that a real word?
不久之前，差不多是上
That's a
一
big
波
word.
滞留风的时候吧。
这样啊，
Alvin Zhang strokes his chin as he seems to be thinking of something.
于恒还故意让人家欠他人情呢。
才没有。
I accidentally choke on my saliva hearing what Benedict Wong is saying.
哇，于恒大师，教教我吧。
Alvin Zhang suddenly sits upright, palms together, looking at me with a pleading expression. He still has that brilliant smile on his face that can enchant others, but I can only sense an overflowing feeling of malice from it.
够了，靠你那张脸，就算你不讲话，也会有人贴上来。
I roll my eyes at Alvin Zhang in frustration.
原来于恒是这么评价我的颜值的。
I try rubbing the goosebumps off my arms as I watch Alvin Zhang fall into silence. Just then, I catch a glimpse of Kathy Wu walking towards the counter with the menu.
不好意思，菜单。
给我就行了。
I take the menu from her, check the marking on it, then turn around and pass it on to the kitchen staff inside.
餐后再结账。
I say to Kathy Gu as I get ready to brew the signature blend coffee Kathy Gu ordered.
好，谢谢。
Kathy Gu nods her head and goes back to her seat, picking up an English novel and starts to read it.
于恒，你眼光不错，是个文文静静的女孩子呢。
Alvin Zhang says to me with a straight face, propping up his chin with both hands. I place the coffee I just brewed on an empty tray, planning to deliver it once the meal is ready. I place the brewed coffee on an empty tray, intending to wait until the meal is ready before delivering them together. At this moment, Layla Guo, she comes out of the kitchen with the freshly made meal and places it on the tray, and he is about to deliver it to Kathy Gu's table. After a split-second thought, I say to Layla Gu,
我来吧。
Layla Guo stares blankly for a moment, raises her head to look at me, then lowers her long eyelashes.
没事，
Her rosy lips curl slightly, and a faint, barely perceivable blush appears on her cheeks. Alvin Zhang sits to the side with his chin propped up, quietly watching the scene in front of him unfold with bated interest.
看来有一场好戏要上演喽。
Alvin Zhang chuckles as his gleaming eyes fall upon the people conversing in the cafe. Hearing Alvin Zhang's remark, Benedict Wong turns his head to face him without pausing the hand he is wiping the table with, an expression on his face that shows he is clearly confused about what Alvin Zhang said.
看着吧，
Alvin Zhang leans back lazily in his chair, hand resting on the back of his head with a mysterious smile on his face.
能请你帮我一件事吗？
咦，怎么了？
就像上次聊到的，我跟文言哥的英文都不太好，所以我这有一些咖啡相关的书籍，想请你帮忙翻译。
I watch Kathy Gu as I awkwardly scratch the top of my head while talking.
如果你愿意的话，我 我们就谈谈报酬要怎么算。
I say to her with a smile.
没问题，不过我也需要先看过你要翻译的内容，才能确定我有没有办法翻。毕竟我也还在学习。
Well, let me put it this way. Learning to read English is easier than learning to read Chinese. English as a language kind of sucks. But at least every single word isn't its own letter. So that helps a little, right?
那你什么时候能给我书呢？这样才能早点确认。
It looks like Kathy Gu has accepted my proposal and seems eager to start.
我今天会把东西准备好，明天就可以开始。
I open my mouth and say after a brief moment of consideration.
这样的话，我明天没课的时间再过来一趟看看内容，可以吗？
可以啊，时间的话就根据你自己的状况弹性处理，等你的事情处理完再翻译就好。
没问题，谢谢你。这几次我们的聊天话题都围绕着咖啡呢，感觉你真的很喜欢咖啡呢。
真的假的？我很无聊吗？
I say as I laugh dryly.
不会啊，我只是好奇，你有什么特别原因吗？
为什么吗？
I'm just going to assume that there's no voice acting in this. Mom, what are you doing? Mommy is brewing some coffee. Does my dear little Bowen want to try some? Something to drink? Mom pours some coffee out of the kettle and into a mug. I reach out my hand to take it, putting the rim of the mug up to my nose and sniffing it. Smells nice. Smells like our house. That's right. It's the smell of our home. My mother smiles as she caresses the top of my head. You want to try? I nod hesitantly and take a small sip. The bitter taste overwhelms my mouth in an instant. With a disgusted look on my face, I swallow one sip after another of this supposed taste of home. You don't have to force yourself to finish it. My mom watches me with a doting chuckle. I shake my head and swallow the last drop. So bitter. Coffee is pretty bitter, just like how life can also be bitter. But coffee can also be like our home right now, warm and fulfilling. Mom laughs as she hands me another mug filled with a fruity scented coffee. I take a sip, the cool sensation unfurrowing my tightly knitted brow, the smooth mouthfeel making me unable to resist taking one sip after another until the mug is empty. Giving a 6-year-old caffeine, this can only end well. That was delicious. You want more? More! No can do. Kids shouldn't have so much coffee. It'll keep you up at night. And if you stay awake at night, the boogeyman might be out to get you. My mother says with dramatic flair, leaving me frozen in fear. Look at you, you're so adorable. Seeing me shivering like that, Mom gently cradles me in her arms, laughing as she tenderly rubs the soft strands of my hair.
因为这是属于我家的味道，是父母的缘故，让我从小就
That's
喜
so
欢上咖啡。
wholesome.
这样啊，
That's so wholesome.
怎么了吗？你看起来不太好。
也没什么，只是在某方面上还挺羡慕你的。
某方面，
其实也没什么啦。我的梦想并没有被爸爸和妈妈支持。
Aw, man. Kathy Goose Dreams? Last time she said it was... She hasn't said it. She hasn't mentioned anything about it. It has not come up.
你的梦想是外文老师。
She looks at me with confused eyes.
你的梦想是翻译作家。
是啊，我想从事翻译作家这个行业，希望能让大家克服语言上的障碍，看见更多更棒的书籍。
I was so close! This close.
有想做的事很好啊，为什么你的父母反对你？
I stare uncomprehendingly at Kathy Gu, who has a depressed look on her face. Kathy Gu laughs hopelessly.
他们觉得这个职业赚不了大钱。我父母对于我考上的大学似乎很不满意呢。其实我也算是背着父母选了间离家很远的大学，偷偷填了外文系。被他们发现后，也因为这样，他们和我冷战了好一阵子。我们的父母们总是希望自己的孩子成龙成凤，盼着儿女在未来能有份好工作。而我的求学阶段就是在父母这样的期望下成长着，但这并不是我所想要的啊。我也知道，现实面就是工作必须养得活自己，但我希望的是，我能够利用自己所学和有兴趣的事物，去找份可以养活自己的工作。我不想迷失在这个只为了高学历而拼命读书的世界里。
其实我也是这么想的。
I feel awed by what she's saying, but then I smile, staring resolutely at her.
如果有天你被现实逼得无处可去，这里随时欢迎你。
谢谢你。
Kathy Gu says with her head lowered awkwardly. I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me or not, but out of the corner of my eye, I think I can see a slight blush on her cheeks. Seeing the way the girl in front of me is acting, I inexplicably feel a bit bashful and unsure of where to put my hands, barely able to stand straight.
快点回去休息吧，快9点了。明天见。
9 o'clock? Wow.
明天见。
Kathy Gu waves goodbye and turns to leave. Dreams and reality, huh? I dwell on it for some time, laughing bitterly to myself. Waiting for coffee. Being selfish provides me more motivation.
孟璇，这份麻烦送到6桌去。
Benedict Wong, busy with preparing the latte in his hands, calls into the window that connects the back of the bar to the kitchen.
好的，马上来。
A loud and energetic voice answers from the kitchen. Then a girl wearing a cafe uniform appears behind the bar, scooping up the tray, holding the meal order, and heading towards table 6. Angela He is one of our new employees. She only works at Origin when she doesn't have class.
是稀饭。
Angela He suddenly points at Kathy Gu and exclaims as she's about to retract her hand that held the tray, having delivered the meal. Kathy Gu, who had her head down and was busy translating, jumps at the out-of-nowhere exclamation, abruptly raising her head. I notice the commotion happening over there and turn my head to see what's going on. Angela He just yelled Kathy, right?
孟轩，你在这边打工？
Oh, they know each other.
没错没错，之前一直想找你来喝个咖啡的，但我们2个时间老是对不上，才没有约成功。原来你之前说的就是这间咖啡馆吗？真巧。
Kathy Gu responds to Angela He with a smile, the two of them chatting away like long-lost friends, seemingly enjoying their conversation.
是，我最近蛮常待在缘起帮忙约恒翻译的，怎么都没遇见你啊？
孟轩该回厨房了，水槽的盘子需要支援。
A cold and piercing voice comes from behind Angela He. At the sound of the voice, Angela He turns her head to face its source.
好的，千里学姐，稀饭，我先回去忙了哦。快去快去。
Kathy Gu's gaze unintentionally meets Layla Guo's ice-cold eyes.
After holding each other's gaze for a moment, Lila Guo, I cannot say that name. Lila Guo nods her head and gives Kathy Gu a small smile before heading back into the kitchen to work.
气质的女孩啊。
Kathy Gu, with her cheeks slightly flushed and admiration flowing from her eyes, seems to be drawn to Lila Guo's aloof charm. A few days later, there was a slight change in the weather. You can sort of feel the effect the stationary front has on the weather with the drizzling rain outside the window. If it weren't for the AC, the hot and stuffy air would definitely be unbearable. And that's why God invented air conditioning, for people in coffee shops to not die of heat. With fewer customers in the afternoon, I take the opportunity to take out one of the English books I asked Kathy Gu to translate, trying out some of the unique brewing methods and blends in it. The flavor actually does feel different from the way I usually brew.
我来找你啦，宇恒小朋友。
I ignore his jabs and take out a new coffee mug, filling it with the freshly brewed coffee, at the same time making another signature blend like the one just now, placing it on the bar.
新的口味，看来我来的正是时候呢。
Alvin Zhang says as he sits down in his usual seat, lowering his head to take a quick whiff, followed by a small sip, closing his eyes for a while to feel the coffee's rich flavor before parting his lips to say,
不够甜。
嗜甜如命。
I wordlessly stare at the guy in front of me with his eyes closed, pretending to be an expert.
你才奇怪吧？明明是个台南人，做出来的口味总是不够甜，肯定不是我的问题嘞。
Alvin Zhang's eyes suddenly pop wide open as he starts arguing with me, like a child throwing a tantrum because he can't get his candy.
是。
I take out a couple of sugar sticks from beside me and toss them onto his table.
爱加多少自己加。
不过嘛，这味道还不错，有种特别的香气，让人想停下脚步，细细品尝它的味道。
或许再多一点变化会更好。
I lower my head in thought and respond to his feedback.
或许吧。
He absentmindedly says while looking out the window.
欢迎光临。
Bella Chen bursts through the front door of the cafe with a beaming smile on her face, looking like she's having a great day.
吴先生在忙吗？我带了点东西过来，可能需要你过目一下。
Bella Chen says as she pulls a lightweight laptop out of her bag.
没问题，不介意的话，在吧台这边的位置稍等一下。
好的。
Bella Chen sits in a seat next to Alvin Zhang, places the laptop on the bar, and spins it around to face the inside of the bar. I observe the girl with the serious expression in front of me out of the corner of my eye as I place the coffee mug on the table. After boiling the filtered water, I expertly start brewing the coffee. After preparing a signature blend for Bella Chen, I place the coffee mug in front of her.
这个是目前预计在网站上发布的文案，你先过目一下。如果没问题的话，会和你讨论一下更深入的介绍内容。
I take the wireless mouse from her hand and start browsing. As expected, the content is information about Origin. Her words leap off the screen with a life of their own. With just words and pictures, she was able to draw people in through the virtual web to create the feeling that Origin wishes to bring to its customers. Perhaps this is why she has such a large following. Alvin Zhang secretly sizes up the girl sitting next to him, then looks at Bowen Wu, who is focused on the laptop, and decides to engage the unknown girl in conversation.
你好啊，我叫做张左奇。
Alvin Zhang shifts his body to the side to face Bella Chen, trying to be friendly.
你好，你好，我是陈玉颖。
Bella Chen quickly puts down the coffee mug she was just sipping when she hears Alvin Zhang's voice and turns her head to greet him. I wonder if the lowercase name is the anglicized version and the uppercase name is the actual name in Chinese. I wonder if that's what's going on here. So like her name would be Chen, but we're calling her Bella. I wonder if something like that. Because I don't understand Chinese like at all, so I've been struggling to listen when they're introducing themselves or saying their own names or someone else's name. This was the first time I actually heard I heard anyone say a name, and all I heard was Chen. I did not hear Bella or anything close to Bella. So I wonder if that's what's going on. I wonder if her actual name is Chen and it's just translated to Bella for English audience's sake, something like that. And like his name wouldn't be Alvin, his name is Zhang, and translated to Alvin. I'm going to keep reading it the way I've been reading it, but I wonder if that's what's going on.
不用太拘束啦，当自己家就行了。
说的好像是自己家一样。
I quietly say without taking my eyes off the screen.
妈，反正你也一定是这么说的。我说或你说又有什么区别？
Alvin Zhang raises an eyebrow at me with the confidence that no one can prove him wrong.
你们一定是非常非常要好的朋友，对吧？真好。
Bella Chen says, laughing.
没错没错，我们是好到不能再好的朋友哦。
他就是个喜欢骗吃骗喝的家伙。
We all have that one friend.
什么嘛？宇恒是这样评价我的吗？
Yeah.
话说，我总觉得好像曾经在哪里看过你，是我的错觉吗？
诶，也许你是曾经看过我的贴文。
Yu Ying. Mystagram. Mystagram. Wow. I actually don't know that, Andrea. I know in Japanese, if you're not acquainted with each other, you use surnames or family names. And then you use first names with a honorific. I don't know how Chinese names work. I really have no idea. Bella Chen doesn't answer. Instead, she fishes her cell phone out of her bag, quickly scrolls through it, then shoves the cell phone screen in front of Alvin Zhang's face.
看过这个吗？
哎，啊，对对对，就是这个。
Alvin Zhang stares at the cell phone screen in surprise. On it is Bella Chen's personal page. On the thumbnail, you could see a charming girl dressed in classical attire, quietly standing next to a window. The brilliant lights from the street are reflected on the side of her face, forming a gorgeous visual feast.
我有个同学是你的粉丝，很喜欢你的贴文，上次还一直抢我手机，就只为了帮你多个追踪数呢。
Alvin Zhang says with a bitter laugh.
诶，这样啊，那所以你追踪了没啊？
Bella Chen squints her eyes slightly and stares at Alvin Zhang with a mischievous grin on her face.
本人都站在我面前了，再不追怎么说得过去？
Alvin Zhang laughs as he digs his cell phone out of his pocket, tapping it open after entering Bella Chen's name into the search bar and pressing down hard on the follow button without a second thought.
欢迎啊，陈小姐。
Benedict Wong comes out of the kitchen, wiping drops of water off his hands as he greets Bella Chen.
是店长大哥啊，别这么见外，叫我玉影就好了。
Bella Chen says with a playful tone, her enchanting voice a delight for those who are listening.
我看完了。
I say as I hand the wireless mouse back to Bella Chen.
吴先生，你看完觉得怎么样呢？
Bella Chen asks timidly with her hands clutched tightly together. The anxiety she is feeling is palpable.
别太拘谨了，叫我于恒就行了。
I say, seeing the nerves dripping off Bella Chen. If we can call each other by name, it should reduce the distance between us, correct? At least that's what I think.
啊，好。
Bella Chen happily nods her head after hearing my words.
我觉得你写得很好，没什么问题，不要太紧张。
I watch Bella Chen as I tell her how I truly feel about it.
太好了，
Bella Chen smiles, as if a great weight has been lifted off her.
我还以为你已经很习惯跟商家合作了呢，没想到你会这么紧张。
Benedict Wong, who is standing next to Bella Chen, stares at her and says in shock.
还是会紧张嘛。每次把自己的作品交给店家过目的时候，我都觉得自己好像全身赤裸一样。
Oh, there's a thought. To show that she really was nervous before, Bella Chen even shakes her body in an exaggerated manner.
我懂，这就跟去考大型考试的感觉一样，对不对？就算我做好了万全的准备，每次去考场考试，我还是超紧张的。
Alvin Zhang echoes Bella Chen's comment with a serious face.
哇，我都不想吐槽你了，你还帮自己挖坑啊！
I say to Alvin Zhang with a wisecracking voice. Off to the side, Benedict Wong laughs loudly after hearing my remark.
你这是什么意思啊？
意思就是，你确定你有认真准备过考试吗？
Still laughing, Benedict Wong pats Alvin Zhang on the shoulder like he's trying to comfort him.
喂，你们两个给我放尊重点哦！
Alvin Zhang starts vigorously waving his arms around and loudly protesting to us.
哎，原来你都不准备的啊！
Bella Chen bursts out laughing at the sight of Alvin Zhang's tomfoolery.
好了，不要再把话题摆在我身上喽。
Alvin Zhang slams the table forcefully, hoping to distract everyone with the loud sound.
言归正传，我觉得你写得很棒，不用对自己这么没自信。
I shake my head at the sight of Alvin Zhang. With the corners of my mouth slightly raised, I tell Bella Chen my thoughts with a smile.
谢谢你的喜欢。其实啊，我常常在想，我能帮上店家的地方也就只有推广层面了。所以，如果能够帮上大家，我会很开心的。
After hearing my praise, Bella Chen's face instantly turns bright red and tells us gratefully.
不过，我在想，如果你希望的是咖啡店本身有所突破，那需要的可能是想法上的创新。
Bella Chen opens her mouth and asks us after a moment spent in deep contemplation.
我也是这么想的。
I nod my head in agreement to Bella Chen's point of view.
不过，你的推广工作对于我们来说也是必要的啊，这样才能让更多人知道，并开发新的客群啊。
Benedict Wong gently says to Bella Chen. Like he is trying to cheer Bella Chen on, slowly revealing his thoughts to Bella Chen. Bella Chen seems to read between Benedict Wong's lines, curling the edges of her lips and giving the sweetest of smiles.
创新啊，这就是不容易的地方了。
Alvin Zhang has one of his rare serious expressions on his face as he mumbles to himself.
是啊，要知道，复制别人的成功是一件非常可怕的事。
I say quietly, watching the shops scattered across the street.
没错，台湾之前满街都是的服饰蛋挞、无人娃娃机，就是很好的案例。
Bella Chen says as she chuckles dryly, reminiscing the egg tarts that once took over Taiwan by storm.
看着别人做什么而成功，所以你也跟着效仿，以为自己就会是下一个成功的人。殊不知，像这种盲目投入市场的行为是非常可怕的。
因为你没有在对的时间做对的事情，所以当客人们的新鲜感随着时间渐渐消失了之后，就是你关门大吉的时候。
听你们这样说起来，就更显得创新有多不容易、多重要了呢。
Alvin Zhang shrugs, shaking his head slightly as he makes a remark.
怎么？难得看你这么有感触。
The dejected expression on Alvin Zhang makes me want to poke fun at him.
因为我一直以为余恒只需要依循着父母的经营之道，就可以顺顺利利将缘起经营下去，一直到老死。
Oh, if only it could be that easy. Alvin Zhang mumbles glumly, his head sinking lower and lower.
小时候，我和余恒就常常看着余恒爸妈为了推出新产品，想出了超多方案，每尝试过一种就会检讨一次，这次哪里做的不够好。又或者是为了物流、员工、经费、设计等等的琐事忙得焦头烂额。所以，以前我总觉得那时候余恒的爸妈就已经挺过最艰难的时期了。
Alvin Zhang finished speaking and gazes at all of us with an embarrassed look on his face.
哦，原来如此，所以你才会觉得余恒父母将缘起交接到余恒手上时，已经是稳定状态了，不需要再扩大经营了。
Upon hearing Alvin Zhang's thoughts, Benedict Wong chuckles and says to Alvin Zhang warmly,
对啊，只是我没想到，原来即便你的品牌早已稳定，而且也拥有一定的知名度了，如果你不希望被市场淘汰，更甚至想扩大经营的话，会面临到这么多棘手的问题。
毕竟品牌的价值是一点一滴堆叠出来的，所以我们才要想办法让品牌变得更有说服力，对吧？
Bella Chen gives her conclusion with a beaming smile after seriously considering our discussion.
没错，这也是品牌的珍贵之处哦。
那今天要讨论的事情差不多就是这样了，对吧？
没错，
辛苦你了。
I put the mouse in my hand down and smile.
这没什么啦，小事而已。
Bella Chen's cheeks slightly blush as she laughs and speaks.
欢迎
欢迎光临。
I ready myself in preparation for the next batch of customers. Benedict Wong also returns to his station.
那先失陪了。
没问题。
As Bella Chen returns her laptop to her bag, I have already prepared the menu and am ready to show the customers to their seats. Seems like a good stopping point. Save right there. Perfect. All right, Sunny Cafe. Cute little visual novel. I love the art style. I love high quality visual novels where everything is clean, where there's voice acting, really good translation. This adds a whole lot of extra stuff. Of course, the coffee making mini games are actually, the 3 times I've done it, actually not that bad. So yeah, we'll see if I continue playing this Friday or not. I kind of hope I do. This is such a fun little game. I like it. So yeah, Sunny Cafe. I think this is coming out later this week, so please consider getting it. If you like visual novels like me, you'll probably enjoy this a lot. So thank you to Andrea for being here. Shout out to the workers and shout out lurkers and shout out to everyone watching on YouTube afterwards. I really hope that I have more energy on Friday. I don't know what's wrong with me today, but I'll definitely have a haircut. Look forward to that. On behalf of East Asia Soft, I have been Skull. Have yourselves a great day and a great week, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.